All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to James and Flav. For now, it's Friday. The jumper's back out. It's winter time. How are you,
time.
mate?
I'm sick of all these people like, oh, summer's the best. Fuck summer. Fuck summer. It's hot. It's uncomfortable, and you can't wear the clothes that you like. You have to walk around in t-shirts for 6 months. It's bullshit.
I'm an autumn guy, personally, so I'm quite happy with the current
winter
state of
guy.
affairs.
When it's cold as possible.
I like the options to go, do I want to take the risk and go to short sleeves? Yeah, I might get a little bit chilly, but I can handle it. I want to have that option. But if I want to layer up, I can as well.
I want it to be up to me. I want it to be my decision, not the fucking weather's.
You
I love jacket weather, and it's best.
Well, shacket weather. You're just a shacket fan, aren't you? That is the that's the sort of no. Honestly, I get fashion sort of item of clothing of choice is the shacket. I would say. I realised on Sky Sports News everyone was loving a shacket. It's like a shirt jacket. You know, you've got shackets coming out. You've got shackets coming out your arse.
It's called an overshirt, not a shacket.
You probably design shackets in your spare time and get people to make them. That's probably what you do.
Keep your eyes peeled for things that are coming soon. Exciting things. For all football fans, not just Spurs fans.
Oh, do you know what? I did have an idea. Right? Can I take some clothes off for you? Is that all right? May I? May I?
Fleece sounds a lot. It looks a lot to me.
God, this shirt makes me look 4, but it's what I like to call. We've heard of the shacket this week. This is what I would call a niche shirt, as in it's a niche t-shirt. It is extra large. And
what is going on, Jim?
And
it looks extra large.
If you can see it on the back, it's an England West Indies tour from a couple of years ago where they lost every single match. I think it was an absolute disaster.
The Barmy Army. Where did you get that from?
My mate said I've got these mad shirts that my mate's given me. They're like rubbish. Do you want them? I was like, yeah. England's Barmy Army.
You looked at those shirts and went. You looked at those shirts and went, yeah, all right. I'll put that on.
I just thought I like random ones. England's Barmy Army, West Indies 2022, which was a terrible tour that they lost loads, and I think the guy lost his job. I think.
Good.
I was thinking that might be a new bit. Niche shirts, so niche T-shirts that you have are specific, because you do see. I saw a guy yesterday wearing a Atlanta 1996 Olympic baseball cap, and he thought he was cool.
Do you see going to football as an event to put on some of your best clobber?
No. But did you back in the day? You know, when you used to go, you'd go to like the leisure centre or go into the city centre. I see that.
I was a teenager.
Yeah, they're like wearing the best thing.
Or going down the park on a Friday night, wearing your best clobber and your dad's aftershave, just for the briefest hope that you might get to finger a bird that evening.
A simpler time, yeah. No, I don't.
Mate,
what I will do.
Such anticipation when you're about 15 years old, 16 years old, going, I wonder what will happen in this park tonight.
Oh, mate.
What is going to happen? Often not, but there would be 1 or 2 nights you've gone, that was great. What a good hour in the park.
Give me a second, because I want to hear all of this. Football podcast, by the way, guys. We have got lots.
You know, just
Arsenal
like
cracks,
but
park chat first.
You know what I'm talking about.
Park was.
You know what I'm talking.
Going to the parks on a Friday night, you get yourself 2 bottles of Big Red Square, and just see what the fuck happened. That's what you do. It was just a simple time.
Well, it was you had $1.99 for a massive bottle of cider. Don't know what it was. It could have been cider, but it was alcoholic. And you'd go into this, and there were girls there, and there was energy in the air, and there was piss, smells of piss.
It was vibrant, yeah.
Vibrant, but that electricity when you're a teenager, and you're like, I might get to finger one of these girls tonight.
I can imagine a young Flav just looking at his own hands. Maybe.
Yeah. It was an innocent time. It was an innocent time.
It was an innocent time, he said after I said that. Okay. Oh, it's Friday, guys. It's Friday. Congratulations to everyone. You've made it. I've got some fun things that we can do. We've got sandwich chat, knob chat, which I'll be revealing.
More sandwich chat. Is it not over?
We're getting close to the end for sure. Bit of football chat. I haven't really spoken about Ronaldo, neither of you. We've got Curry Panic is back. And we've got a Samism. And also a bizarre comment that starts with, "Hi James and Flav. I don't know which section this story belongs, but you might like it." And it's about Dutch music. So all of that and so much more.
So there's a good reason why he doesn't know what section it belongs to. Dutch music. I mean, I don't know. I haven't watched all of the podcasts. Have you ever had a Dutch music section?
I don't think many football podcasts in particular have that. Honestly, there's about 3 or 4 comments from last week that I'm not sure if they're good enough to go in or not. But the important thing is that I just need to say it to you, so you can maybe explain it to me, because I'm just confused with some of them.
Oh, right.
So yeah, what we have got as well.
Can I tell you what I want to talk about on this episode?
Arsenal cracks. Maybe?
I think we should talk about. Well, maybe something to do with that. Something to do with. I think I have some ideas, right? And things that I find quite interesting. We've got Anthony's spin. You heard about this? The fallout.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were saying. I felt like you were saying someone's YouTube name in the chat was Anthony Spin, and you were about to read out their comment. No, I saw Anthony Spin followed by the bad pass. Yeah.
And obviously Grealish saying the Papers need to leave him alone and concentrate on his game. I found interesting. Like what?
I caught the opening credits, I guess, of Jim White and what's his face, Jordan this morning. He's got, and
no, I'm not here.
And Jim White said this about the spin. It was part of his setup, I guess, for all the for the white hot action they call it, because his name's White, isn't it? They said. Yeah. He said, "Showboating, is it frowned upon in this country?" Was that the road you were going to go down when it came to Anthony? And I'm just curious.
Were you talking about it now?
Let's dive into
curious. I was just curious about what you thought. I mean, the people are going to hate it. Roy Keane, Graham Souness,
Scholes would be out of his mind, wouldn't he?
Scholes did.
Did he?
Badly.
Did he? Yeah. Scholes' heart is just like, for God's sake, just look over your shoulder all the time, be aware of the space, and play a pass. That's what he wants.
So some people might say that is a part of his game, that flamboyant, that look at me, the sort of game fun starts at my feet as opposed to anywhere else. And I saw Macola's comment saying, I love it. I love how much piss it's boiling and stuff like that. I can't remember exactly what he tweeted, but it was along those lines because it's his player. It was just apparently that's like one of his trademarks. He does that in games. Okay. My biggest thing is you just look a bit of a plank, especially in England.
Let's put it.
We don't like that stuff.
Let's put it to the comments. We've got I'll chuck a poll up. Anthony Showboat, obviously with a capital S and H. Love it or not for me? That's the poll. And whilst you're there, guys, what I've got here, and you guys can ask some questions as well, which we'll look at the end. But I've done this a few times on match reactions. But what you can do, let me know where your sluggy little fingers are at this moment in time, because I've got the old "Where are you watching from?" on the streamer live. So I thought it was always interesting to see where everyone's watching. So just write down in the chat where you're watching the podcast from right now. Because I like it. But also get your questions in, because we'll answer some of those as well. So the poll, what's happening with the poll? So look, the poll suggests currently 54% says not for me.
But the thing is the showboating when doing skills in order to gain an advantage or draw a tackle. Then the showboating in that aspect has a point. But in this, he just looks a bit silly what he was doing. Like, I didn't get it.
It's quite early in the game.
Ultimately, fundamentally, I don't know.
All right.
I don't know. I'll tell you another one this week. It's like, and I'm not saying this was Spurs. Like, we had Emerson Royale do it at Tottenham, and we was not winning the game, and he tried a no-look pass, and he passed it out. Like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, first and foremost, rule one is just do the best you can, right? Stop. Certainly if you're not winning, if you're winning 4-0 and you want to do a no look pass, get it. Fine. Everyone loves it. If it comes off, it's great. There isn't. Do you know what I'm talking about? Did you see what he did?
Yeah. I've seen it.
So
Emerson Royale. No, I haven't seen that one.
Yeah. Okay. So what happened? He was we needed to score, right? Desperately. He had an overlapping. I can't remember who was overlapping. Another player was overlapping him, giving him an option. Basically, if he had played it correctly, the guy would have been running at pace.
Right.
It might have been Doherty. I can't remember.
Not
and he would have gone into the box. What Emerson Royale does is look away and pass. And we're talking about an 8-foot pass is what he had to make. He did a no-look pass, and it just went out. It went nowhere near the player. And what we needed was in that moment was we needed to just basic stuff, just pass the ball so he can run into the box. It was on, and what he decided to do was a no-look pass. And you know why he did it? I don't know if you're aware that at Spurs he has like one of the things that our social media team do is building him a compilation of all these moments in the game, and he posts it and tweets it after every game, regardless. And when we win, everyone's like, "Yeah, it's time for Emerson's showboat reel," right?
Yeah.
But when you've done that for that reason, you're like, well, what is this about? And it goes back to what the Anthony stuff is that fundamentally it shows where their head is at, and it isn't necessarily completely with the team.
Yeah,
now,
that's
you'd say the
interesting.
same about.
That is so interesting. I think there's some criteria that's important here. So, and I'd love to know if other people have criteria as well. Let me know. The current scoreline is crucial. I think the time of which it's done. So 52% said not for me. So it's quite close. 47% said love it. And who you're playing, I think, is also important. So, like, if you're doing it against San Marino, right? So it's Sterling and San Marino. It's like, you look like a nobbin. Yeah, and they're playing Sheriff.
Punching down.
Or whatever it was called. So it is punching down a little bit. And they were 1-0 up, but I don't think it was that late in the game, was it? Maybe I'm wrong with that. Someone let me know. So I think that's an interesting point what you say, though, in terms of, is your mind on the team? It can work both ways. It can be useful because sometimes you need a player who has that inner confidence and doesn't really care, is going to do their thing, and that's going to like open up a game. So for Anthony, I think it's a far more acceptable thing. For Emerson Royale, just play the 5-yard pass, son.
And it's not, and Emerson Royale isn't a popular figure at Tottenham, and I actually think he's better than the criticism he gets. But he is polarizing, not even polarizing. I think I would say 70% of Spurs fans don't think he's anywhere near as good enough.
No.
And when you're doing that on top of the background, the idea, the underlying stories or opinions of him from the fan base, then
so everyone's
and we weren't winning. We needed to win so badly, and you fucked it up for your show reel. It's like it was unforgivable in a way. What are you doing? What are you doing? But by the same token, this is a guy who's apparently, if you believe the press, spent £1 million in making him the best player. I think it's like getting trainers in, nutritionists in. He's got a cryogenic chamber, I think, or whatever those ice things are.
Are we still talking about Emerson Royale?
Yeah, I'm just saying. Like, so by the same token of him doing that, he also he wants to better himself. And stuff,
right. I see what you mean. So everyone's saying it was 0-0 and it was the first half. So that's do we need a new poll for this? Generally you've got to. I think I don't know. Like when Eze does it, or like when Tarap used to do it, you love it when it's your team. You absolutely love it when it's your team. I do think position matters as well. Wingers should be doing it. 10s should be doing it. Right backs shouldn't be doing it. That's my
Richarlison did it against
Forest.
Nottingham Forest.
Yeah.
And in that instance, he got wallops. He kind of deserved it. He drew a foul. I didn't have any issue with it because it was relatively effective. But if you give the ball away after doing something like that, as Anthony and Richarlison and Emerson Royale did. Yeah, but I think anyone who gets too angry about it also needs to look at themselves. It's not that deep, but.
Yeah, literally someone said, Will just said the exact same thing. The 1 million story is BS. It comes straight from his agent. Says Lil Baz, who is in the know, it would seem. Here we go, guys. So we've got 42 Sluggy Wuggies in America right now. 36 in the UK. So we're bigger in America. How? It's odd, isn't it? Maybe it's the time of day. 18 in New York. And then we've got a few in down here in South Africa. And down here as well. Where's this? Who's this? Who's this little sluggy wuggy? Cape Town. Couple just chilling out in Cape Town watching us.
Do you know the orca? You know, orcas have chased all the great whites out of the waters there.
Is that good or bad?
It's bad, isn't it? Because I'm a big fan of great whites.
Oh, okay.
So they come in.
But you won't swim with them. You won't swim in the sea.
Oh yeah. I'll swim with them.
He'll swim with them, and and he'll lose a limb. A couple in Wellington, as well. Just always lovely to see where everyone is. We'll end the magic map and we'll head over to quick questions. What we'll do at the end of the podcast, so stick around, we'll do words of the pod, which will be interesting. So if you put a question in now, we can sort of make our way through these along the way. So much to talk about, though. So much to talk about. Can we stick with Man United for a second? Because I don't think I've heard your take on the Ronaldo situation. He obviously came back and scored. But I would. Yeah, how do you feel about it?
I think he's an egomaniac. He's a psychopath. But you kind of have to be in order to be as good as him. I'd care less. I could care less really about Ronaldo. I don't care. It's the end of his career. I don't really give a shit about him or think about him at all. I don't care if he wants to act like a petulant child at 37. What this actually shows is how good Ten Hag is at managing this situation, I think. And just as a test, I mean, firstly, he's doing well. You know, Man United are playing well against Spurs. They, by hands down, the best team we played, and that includes Arsenal, who ripped us apart as well. Man United were impeccable that night against Tottenham. So I think more of what it says about Ronaldo, it says more about Ten Hag's ability to manage these situations, which was some of the, people are saying, like, he's walked into this job, he's got this nightmare situation where Ronaldo doesn't really want to be there. They can't sell him because no club's going to come in and cover his 400 grand a week wages. Very few clubs seem to be interested in him at all anyway. I'm sure Man United would have given him away to get his wage bill off it. But he was stuck with this massive problem, this massive Ronaldo problem. Another player, maybe this is just intrinsic to all players, who puts their own position forward first before the team. What is he doing? By walking off, what are you hoping to gain? You just look like a dickhead.
Wildly immature, isn't it? Wildly.
He's a grown man, mate. He's got kids.
What I find amazing, because we were talking about it in the week, weren't we? So patrons will know. So if you want to become a patron, links in the description, I think, or go back to last week's pod or whatever. But we were talking about in the mailbag James Corden and the sort of hatred around him. And what we kind of dove into a little bit is like you got to kind of remember that person as a famous person, if you know what I mean, and all the sort of things that can alter your mindset from that. But what I find amazing about him walking off, Ronaldo, is the lack of awareness when you are in a public place. That's what I find amazing. Because if you think about it, like he might be thinking, hang on, I'm Ronaldo. Okay, fine. And he's allowed that opinion, right? But knowing that you're winning, knowing how long the walk is, knowing that there are 80,000 people watching you in that moment, knowing the reverberations that every move that you make occurs, all of those things, the motivation to still do it, that sort of makes you sort of step over all of those hurdles in terms of things that might stop you. I thought that was like incredibly revealing for someone who, this is the other thing I think is interesting about this situation, is the fact that us as fans are really harsh, right? In the sense that if he's world class, if they need him. So like Adel Taarab's always the one I use. Adel Taarab got away with murder. in the championship season, because whatever he needed, he delivered. And then as soon as we got into the Premier League, and it was like, okay, well, you are good, but you're not, you can't do it single-handedly in the Premier League. We were kind of like, well, let him do his stupid things, get rid of it. Like, we are very, very flippant. And I think that's interesting when it comes to Ronaldo, is that last year I'm really annoyed I didn't have the conviction last year to go, I think this is an absolute mess of a signing. I don't think this is going to work, blah, blah, blah. But I didn't. I sort of tempered it down because it was Ronaldo, and you can't say that because he's going to obviously prove you wrong. But now, it's almost like, for someone who's been the GOAT for so long, as soon as your like physical attributes wane just a little bit, or you're just that tiny little bit less important, like I don't know, your behaviour gets pulled into focus. And that's what's happening with him now. Like most footballers, you get away with whatever you need to get away with as long as it's behind a certain line and you deliver on the pitch. But now, because of all these things and the fact that there's a general understanding that the team is better without him, it's amazing how he's mortal. He's mortal now. You can't just behave that way. I find it fascinating.
I don't think. Well, the thing is, I don't know, Jim. I'm just over it. It's the end. It's like, just go out with a bit of grace. Like, you're not good enough to be in this team currently. They're better without you. Whatever it is, you may be on paper, you're still Ronaldo, but whatever it is, the team works better without you. If you can't accept it, then, or you don't accept the fact that you're not in your manager's plans every week, then rip your contract off and fuck off.
Right, true. I did hear someone saying that the big thing was like that Man United never really wanted to lose him was because of the money that they make from, marketing commercial deals, and having the ability to use Ronaldo's face for a lot of that is actually really, really important. So that might be part of it.
It could be something like that, yeah.
But it is amazing how
he's costing them more than he's bringing in. Like, they're not making. Surely they're not making £400,000 a week from his image rights.
Yeah.
I mean, if they are, then money's insignificant, isn't it? The player, whether he plays or not, is insignificant. He has a value to the club.
It's a quick one for the chat. Do you feel like Ronaldo has been... I think it's pretty blanket that Ronaldo has disrespected United. But do any of you think that Ronaldo has been disrespected in this whole saga? Just write yes or no.
I'll be curious to see if anyone thinks that Ronaldo's been disrespected. How can you be paid £400,000 a week and be disrespected?
Because
your job.
Roy Keane was watching. I think he'd say yes. So look, we got some yeses already. 50-50, a few yeses. And for those of you who say yes, just explain yourself as well, because I'm intrigued to know. Because I guess some people that would say yes would suggest, he scored a lot of goals. He did what was asked of him. And now he's not being played. Maybe is that the? I don't know. I've got to be honest. Like you can't behave that way.
No, Pochettino. One of Pochettino's greatest quotes was, "You come to Tottenham. You come to Tottenham to train, not to play. You come to. That's it. We're paying you to attend training. Then, if you prove yourself, you'll get an opportunity to play." That was the mentality. And I get you can't throw it at Ronaldo because look at what he's done. But it was another thing about the contracts that for Harry Kane. Harry Kane was on a low, relative to his ability, a low basic wage. It was about £100,000, but with bonuses, it was nearly £200,000 a week. That was maybe 6-7 years ago.
Right.
So it's like you can't rest on your laurels ever under that Pochettino's team, and that's why someone's ego shouldn't come first, and that's something he was always kind of wary of. And so it was. It's the quicker they get Ronaldo out of the club, the better. I know his contract's up at the end of the season. Say goodbye. No big ceremony. Just go.
With the World Cup as well and everything, it's only a few weeks away, isn't it now? Andrew Lopez says the goalposts have been moved on Ronaldo. Yes, he was their best player last season, says Joe Mama. Joe also says, yes, biggest profile player at the club. You shouldn't let him leave because he scored so many goals this season. He tried to force his way out. He failed, so he's not getting played, and he's playing shite. That's someone else. They could have let him leave, says Andrew Lopez. The idea that he had no offers is ridiculous. He had no offers that United accepted. There is no way. There's no club offered a contract.
Where's the proof? Where are they? Where did it happen? But
again, you sign a contract for 2 years. You sign a contract for 2 years. You then go there to be to do the best for that club, regardless of if you're playing or not or whatever. And the thing that he wanted to play Champions League football or whatever, and then puts that out in the summer, is also just ridiculous.
You can't defend him. I don't know what.
No.
He's not even like last season. He was, in a sort of average United side. He was like their best player. He scored 18 league goals, which is nothing to be sniffed at.
But overall, they were worse as a team. So I think that has to be the thing, the guiding light. And like you said, like that man, the Tottenham game, they play so much better when he's not there. It's just a fact. Yeah. He casts such a shadow. He really does, I think.
They've got to get him out. He's like, you can't have that. It's disrespectful to everybody, to your team. If you were in that dressing room, you'd be thinking, he doesn't give a shit about me. He doesn't give a shit about anybody here.
Yeah.
And how can that ever be a positive thing?
Well, so that's exactly what I was kind of saying. It's like, that's only a positive thing if it benefits you. If, Adel Taarabt doesn't give a shit about Sean Derry, but if it gets Sean Derry the money by playing in the Premier League, if it gets him that championship trophy, if it gets him victories, it gets him win bonuses.
Yeah, but he was a massive part of QPR's success that season. But Ronaldo isn't. And
that's it. And that's what I find interesting and quite harsh when it comes to elite sport, is that as soon as you're not the best, then what's made you the best, and that ego and all those things is, it's quite a sharp drop off.
That's someone just, I don't know why this made me laugh. Ollie French in the chat went, he's got to go, Robbie.
Amazing.
Isn't it mad how Matt, completely out of context, we know exactly what he means.
I love that we have our own language. I love that on this podcast we have our own language. Like, he's got to go, Robbie.
He's got to go, Robbie. Robbie's got to go.
He ain't won nothing. Do you know what as well? Someone goes, the Champions League clause, like, it was Man United you were going to as well. Like, if he was that bothered about playing Champions League football for 2 years straight, it's Ronaldo's contract. You're telling me they've not thought about the best scenario and the worst scenario? They didn't put that in there. It's outrageous.
Yeah. I mean, and it's big money as well. Like, you're talking about lots and lots of money. And,
sure, Andrew Lopez is not giving up. Giving Ronaldo junk minutes in a game that you're winning is disrespectful. That doesn't excuse Ronaldo's response, but it is.
When's it going to end, Robbie?
When is it going to end?
When's it going to end? Quickly, Damiano just he keeps asking. He keeps asking this question about whether I take Poch over Conte. Firstly, you don't go. You don't often go back. You shouldn't go back.
Secondly, you edited that sentence just as you were about to say it.
You shouldn't often go back.
Beal in.
Beal for Spurs? No,
listen. That's a good bit for the comments.
Conte is at the start.
Are there players? Sorry, just quickly. Are there people that shouldn't? People that went back that shouldn't have gone back? I'd love to know. We could maybe look at
Ronaldo shouldn't have gone back.
Teddy Sheringham?
Ronaldo shouldn't have. No.
Shouldn't have gone
back.
Keane? Robbie Keane?
Well, look, it's a tough one, right? Because no.
Defoe?
Oh, man, I'm so good. Yes. Yeah, he was a success coming back.
Interesting.
That was mad that season. Redknapp went, why have you sold? What? He's come in. He's gone, why have you sold all these players?
We sold them to you, Harry.
Get them all back. Get them all back. It's like Harry Redknapp's coming to Tottenham. Spurs are bottom of the league. 8 points. 2 points from 8 games. Everyone's having relegation parties after the first 8 games. And Redknapp went in there, right? He went, right, what you've done here is you've sold all the good players. Now get them all back.
To me.
Go and get Defoe. Go and get Robbie Keane. Let's sort this shit out. Well, I mean, Crouch came back.
Yeah.
But look, in terms of Pochettino, Conte is at the start of his journey. People are getting caught up in what's happened at Tottenham. He's been there less than a year. He's been there 11 months, right? If you sack a manager after 11 months, he has done awfully. We're currently third in the league, top of our Champions League group. Like, I'm not saying we're satisfied with what's going on at Spurs at the moment in terms of the way we're playing. I understand the frustration, but you cannot consider sacking a manager when you were in Champions League places. Fundamentally, with a track, it's similar to you can't sack Tuchel after he's won the Champions League. Doesn't matter what happens. Wait a season, then sack him, which is what happened. But you can't. In this scenario, and Spurs are talking about giving him a new contract, not sacking him. So it's not even a conversation. There's just this growing minority of Spurs fans that think he's going to be that he should be replaced. And if Poch was available, would we take him? And I'm saying no. If we didn't have Conte and Poch was available, then yes. But in this instance, we do have Conte. What Conte's doing also is forcing Daniel Levy to spend. He keeps saying, if they don't spend, I'm gone. But by the same token, you can't keep spending and playing shit football, Conte.
Yeah, true. I always think the goal difference is a good marker.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the thing, and it's like, yeah, and someone said there, Harley says, Jim called Spurs one-dimensional. Thoughts, Flav? I did, and I do think they are a bit one-dimensional. But here's my question to you, Flav. Here's my question to you. Are you how many players are you away from challenging? And then you have the season where everyone stays fit, blah, 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 blah. How many players are you away?
I'm saying if we buy 3 players that improve what we have significantly, so these are 3 players that walk straight into our first team, we're that far away.
So yeah, I think
you're talking lots of money. You're talking lots of money. You're talking £200 million outlay, that kind of level.
Right.
And like making what we the gap between Tottenham and where fans get frustrated with Daniel Levy is the gap between the kind of transfers that Liverpool, Man United, Man City, and Chelsea are willing to make, and even Arsenal to a certain degree, because they spunk big money on people like Pete. Why it didn't work out, it was ambition, right?
You said Pate?
Pepe.
Oh, right, sorry.
He's like Pate. Anyway, Spurs haven't tended to do that. Like our best signings recently were Bentancur and Kulusevski, which was a combined 44 million, which is great business, but Man United thought nothing of spending £80 million on Anthony, and Spurs don't do that. So if we did start doing that, then we can start having a conversation, because I think Conte's obviously the right man. You remember the football we were playing at the end of last season compared to what is 12 league games later when it isn't quite working. It's too early to suddenly start.
Yeah, big weekend. Big weekend for you, and we should probably talk about this considering it's the title. Arsenal. Ooh. Scrape to win again. Let's reframe this. Those sour Gunners are they wobbling somewhat? I think there's a discussion to be had here. Is there a wobble happening, guys? Let us know in the chat, because they beat Leeds, who, if we scroll down, are struggling big time.
But they struggled beating Leeds. Look. Can we preface this, right, with we, as responsible podcasters, we would be remiss to not talk about something that we can see with our own eyes.
Yeah.
Now, we're not saying it's happening. We're just making an observation. And when I say we, it's not, maybe it's my idea to talk about this. When we say me, maybe Jim ain't. And I've got to say, Jim, before we talk about this, do you know how many people sent me a screen grab of your "I love it when Arsenal win ugly" video? I got that screen grab from about 15 different people. Went,
really?
Sort your mate out.
Wow.
And I'm like,
well, because I support Spurs, don't I? Oh no, hang on a minute, I fucking don't. So I'll do what I want. Literally reply to every single. Clip this up, and when your Spurs mates send you stuff, send them this. I don't support Spurs, so fuck off. I'll talk about what I want. What nonsense! Look at that crap.
Yeah,
James is profiting off by being positive about a football club that's not Spurs. Sort him out. Shut up.
Sort him out, they said. And I said, I can't. I can't.
He's hours away. He's a 3-hour drive.
I said, nothing to do with me. It's his YouTube channel. Why are you texting me? What? There's nothing I can do about it. I don't like it either. I don't like even saying what you said over and over again.
Look, here are the facts. I call it as I see it, all right? And
what do you see right now?
Well, and I tell you what, if all those muggy people who message you are too busy being muggy to get on with the rest of their lives, going, thought him out, they, I know like 5 of them. I could say them now. The fact is, in that same video, I said, if this performance leads to another bad performance or awkward performance, let's say like a 1-1 draw, which I did predict on ESPN, or a defeat in the Europa League later that week, that's not an isolated performance. That then becomes a trending situation. Wow. And thus the word crack will appear in a title. Okay?
It is interesting you say that, Jim. Obviously I'm coming from a hopeful Spurs fan. But it's like I've got an agenda. You've not got an agenda. You've proved that over and over again.
Thank you.
You don't have agenda against Arsenal. In fact, you went so far as to say, I am backing Arsenal this season because Flav is too biased about when talking about it. And then the show is becoming like an anti-Arsenal podcast, which it should be. It fundamentally should be a no-go for Arsenal fans. They are not welcome here. In fact, I was to go so far as saying they're not welcome on your channel at all. But it's your channel.
It's my channel, isn't it? Yeah, it is my channel.
It is your channel. But Jim, but they were on fire at the start of the season, and now they're not. Is all I'm saying. You might not lead to anything. You might still win the league. It's just you're not playing as well as you did. And
they've drifted back to sweet gunners. They are not sweet gunners right now, for sure.
Only one.
And you've got to be careful. There could be some sour gunners on the horizon. Yeah, look, personally, I don't think it's that big a deal losing to a very good PSV Eindhoven side. It's about the league form. Here's what I would say. If I want to throw you a bone here, Flav, are they tensing up a little bit?
They can't. Look, it's impossible for them to maintain the levels that they'd maintained before, right? It's not. You can't go for an entire season, and because if they did. By proxy, they would lose 2 or 3 games all season and win the league by a landslide. No one can keep that up. Yeah. So it's not unexpected that they are a little bit more stiff than they were previously. Look, all I'm saying as well, we're just chewing the fat here. Yeah. Like, nothing's concrete. We're not saying they're falling apart. We're not saying Arteta's naive. We're not saying that. We're not saying they've spent a lot of money and their expectations should be winning the league and anything less than that is complete and utter failure. We're not saying that. We're not saying that they don't actually have a number 9. We're not saying that.
Yeah.
We are not saying that Martinelli is actually, he's very young, he's ceiling's high, but can he really consistently do it for a league? We're not saying that either. We're not saying those things, Jim.
Sorry, Ed Hot Astro says, they absolutely stink, Jim. What, Arsenal? It's top of the league, mate. I love it. You literally are on every football club is on a knife edge all the time, and then you could just flop over onto one. What I think we are saying is that it's a big game this weekend, but at the same time, Arsenal against Nottingham Forest, you've got to win that. You cannot be. There's at home. That is pretty disastrous. We've got a bit of a problem. There are cracks forming if they don't beat.
Stink. I don't think he means bad. I think he's just saying Arsenal smell. Arsenal fans smell. They smell bad. They reek.
All right. Okay. Well,
you know what Arsenal fans. If you go near an Arsenal fan, they smell of when you've been rubbing copper in your hand, like 2 pence pieces in your hand for about That's what they smell like.
Really interesting. I'm sure we tried to get that bit off the ground. What the football fans smell like, but I don't think they stink worse than my nan, and she's rotting in the ground. Says proud to be a Geordie. Right.
Wow,
classy. Wow,
Jesus.
Bit heavy that.
Rotting in the ground.
Sure. If Jesse Marsch gets
Why
sacked
is
by
it fair that
Liverpool this weekend, after losing to Liverpool, by Leeds after losing to Liverpool, that's harsh. Just as I look at the fixtures, just want to say
they don't want him. The problem with Leeds is that they want they want Bielsa. They just want him, and no one else is good enough.
Never go back.
Of course they do. They all never go back. We've talked about that, but
can an American manager survive in the Premier League? Will an American manager ever survive the Premier League? There just is. There is. But it's not nice, is it? People just don't. They don't like him. I think it's unfair.
Not really sort of taken seriously, are they?
No, people are waiting to turn on them for sure.
Yeah, they want them to.
Just to round the Arsenal bit up, then are these Arsenal cracks official? So what we're saying, Forest, if they draw to Forest, is that an official crack, or does it need to be a defeat?
I think they probably get a stay of execution if they draw
at home to Forest. That feels like a crack to me. I'll say it. That'll cheer up your Spurs buddies.
Can I ask you a question? If Arteta, if these are cracks, right, and Arteta and Arsenal don't finish in the top four, they finish fifth, for example, which would be insane. Like that's massive bottle job territory, right? What do they got to sack him, right?
Got to go, eh?
If he finishes fifth, he has to go. That'd be eighth, fifth, and about £500 million spent.
Possibly.
Let us know.
Leave it possibly.
Let us know. Would you back Arteta if from this position he finished fifth in the league with Arsenal? Would that be enough for you?
A few Arsenal fans in the chat saying anything less than a win, convincing win, is a crack. Wow.
Arsenal fans saying that.
I love that. After all of that, Flav's going, support your team. What's wrong with you?
Yeah, fucking back your team. What's wrong with you?
Right.
Look, they're absolutely fine. Don't worry, Arsenal fans. You're fine. It's all fine. You're good. You're good. You're a good team. Young team.
Some bro says, if a draw is a crack, what is a loss? Who would replace him? Good question. Let us know in the comments. Right. Enough of this.
Just quickly. One final thing. Did play a strong team against PSV. Just saying that. Just want to leave that there. It was a strong team.
PSV are good, though. Lost to Rangers, though, didn't they? Didn't get into the Champions League.
How good are they? Where would they finish in the in the Premier League? 15th? 15th.
Yeah, sure.
Yes. How good are they? They're essentially Bournemouth.
Simmons.
They're a Bournemouth. They're that good.
I think maybe like 11th. Like Brighton.
You've never heard
Brighton's squad.
I mean, I know I'm not going to throw you under the bus here, but never heard of a single player. Not one. Not that says anything.
Not that. I wouldn't expect that. I wouldn't expect you to. Well, one of those players is in my one to watch for every World Cup team, which is out now and has performed quite disappointingly so far. So if you could go and watch it, that would be great. Right.
Who was it? Who did you?
Cody Gakpo.
Okay.
Who's good? He's well good.
He's good.
Man United wanted him, but probably should have got a striker in the end.
Don't buy buying players from the Eredivisie are very risky.
It is risky. More Dutch chat coming. Here we go. So, Jim, Big Laugh Award. This made me laugh. I didn't realise we were doing knob chat, but apparently last week we were doing a bit of knob chat. And Jack Byrne says, on knob chat, he's named it. A mate of mine is a triplet. And when pissed one night, he revealed to us that he'd recently seen the piece of one of his brothers, and he couldn't believe the size of it. He said him and his other brother were fuming. The wealth wasn't shared equally, as by the look of it, there was plenty to go around. That's kicking the nuts, isn't it?
You'd be fuming. You'd be
You would,
absolutely that bang out of order. Like, hold on, we're triplets for fuck's sake. What are you doing me like that, God?
Yeah, that
But like, literally, that would be so. You'd be so angry because every single part of your body is identical apart from the penis. That would, like, you'd be fuming. Why?
How would you react? You'd be like, hang on, no, pull them back down. What's that?
What is that? You're hung like a horse.
Yeah, that's heartbreaking, isn't it?
Yeah.
But yeah, it did make me chuckle. Top comments. Sunbro, who's in the chat right now. Hello, mate. He said, I didn't realise James and Flav preferred us to watch Jaffin at half-mast. This is so if you missed last week's podcast, it's a belter. I found out that Bill was staying mid-podcast, and it was just really good fun. And actually, if you haven't watched it or listened to it, what you should do is listen to it on Spotify, because I listened to it on Spotify, and it's very enjoyable.
Proud to be a Geordie just said, quote, pull them back down. Hold on, pull those back down. Caught a glimpse.
Pull them back down.
Caught a glimpse of his piece. And he's like, pull them back down.
Pull them back down.
I want to look at your dick.
Yeah. Steve, can you just pull them back down for a sec? What is that? So, Sunbro, I didn't realise James Flav prefers to watch Jaffin at half-mast. I will endeavour to watch all future episodes at least a semi. The replies were that Jack Conway said, that got 49 likes. Jack Conway said, the challenge is avoiding going too far and then sitting through an hour of sandwich chat with a studge on.
Yeah.
And then the comment underneath that made me laugh. SC said, I've been sat here at full mast all this time like a total idiot. You got to stay on top of that. Very difficult. That's impossible, isn't it? Is it impossible to stay at total equilibrium at half mast for 40 minutes? That's impossible, isn't it?
It's not easy. It is a challenge. You're not like, no one's saying that it's not. It's an easy thing to do. Just saying that is peak. That's what you want to be. What you want to be is if you have a choice, half mast is where you want to be. That's when watching this podcast.
When enjoying the pod. Imagine that a couple of lads who watch the podcast together. Yeah, ideally.
Ideally, it would be. We would prefer it if you were at half mast while watching the pod. Is all we're saying.
I actually would. And I want you to be calm. I don't want you to be sort of, because what if you like laugh too much and then it's like something happens. I don't know. It just feels like a tightrope.
Joe Wopplington says half mast equals a perfect level of tipsy. It's like half mast is like having 3 pints. It's a good feeling. It's good, isn't it? You feel great.
I think you feel trapped. No.
I don't know what.
Do you
mean? I just think it's a nice. Look, I'm not.
I'd feel contained. I'd want to let go. Do you know what I mean?
You don't have to have trousers on. Yeah. I would. This my preference for this podcast and people listening to this is to have no trousers on and be half mast. It doesn't make any sense.
I don't know, but it's Friday. Luke Bromwich, curry panic. Sandwich chat on its way. Just bringing curry panic back. I went on a team night out with my Sunday league side a few years back, where the plan was curry house, then piss up. And before I read the next few words, which were in brackets, what's your first thought when I say to you this? But say that sentence. On a team night out, Sunday league side a few years back, the plan was curry house, then piss up. What are your thoughts? Do you think anything?
I'm thinking that you're going to be full of curry, which means that you're not going to enjoy the night. Like, the curry's the last thing you do.
Yeah.
Anyone who suggests on a day out, let's go for a curry first,
or any heavy meal prior to the night out, it's just very difficult to get yourself up for it.
Just have a bit of toast before you leave. And then just crack on with your night. I don't like when people are eating's cheating. It's not cheating. It just fucks the day up.
Yeah, it just slows you down, and you can't drink as quick. What's best is sort of a late lunch, isn't it? Or go to a pub and have like a burger or something at like 3.
Jim, did I tell you about when I went football the other week and I met Ricky and Spooky at the CAF? Did I tell you about this?
No.
So we went to I was a bit late. Obviously coming from Wiltshire, so it took ages to get there. Anyway, they went Ricky and Spooky went, well, I'll tell you what. Why don't you meet us in the CAF? Enjoy CAF on Tottenham High Road. Why don't you meet us there? And I'm like, oh God, I mean, food, really? Before drinking? Lots of food. And then they were like, don't worry about it. Well, you don't have to have anything. Or, you can have a bit of ours, whatever it is. So gone in there, and they've got their food already. And when I say it was the biggest fry-up each, it was 2 fry-ups. Essentially, it was a big oval plate.
Pete Doherty levels, this.
Not that big, but still significant, right? It wasn't a normal fry-up. It was like having 2 fry-ups. And do you know what? You know what Spooky did? He went, can I have some chips as well? Chips on top of 2 fry-ups. And Ricky went, well, I'm going to be fine. So I left the hash browns, but I did order fried bread. Pigs. Pair of little pigs, a pair of them, right?
Fried bread, I don't get it.
But I had a veggie burger. I just needed something. We got to the pub, Jim. We got to the pub.
Okay.
And we're just sitting there like that. People just sipping.
Yeah.
Sipping the pints, going down like a fucking bucket of cold sick.
Just a bad decision. What? So it's like one of these bad boys you see on the stream in a minute. They're going to go back.
They're going to do it again. They'll do it again this Saturday. They will fucking do it again. I know it. And I've told them I don't like, I was like, this ruined the day. And they'll fucking do it again. They're a pair of arseholes.
Look, we're all for being full on this podcast. We've spoken about it numerous times. But you've got to think about your post full up plan. They
partly ruined my day because they ate too much food.
Yeah. What's the opposite of an afterbirth? You've got to think about that bit. Someone will say something in the chat.
Look, be full on your sofa watching a film. Like, be full then. That's a great time to be full.
Be full on a Sunday at midday. That's when you want to
be full then. Be full.
That's the perfect time to be full. Perfect time.
Know that when you're full impacts the lives of others around you.
Yeah. You've got to stay switched on to that. How do we even get on to
do it again. They'll fucking do it again is what winds me up.
That's mad. See, that is funny. We do all fall for that, don't we? Like Chinese buffet, we'd be like, oh yeah, buzzing, go. Never again by the end of it. And then like 2 weeks later, go, well, where should we go? Chinese buffet? Well, I'm tired again. Yeah. So, I was thinking that. And also, Luke said, brackets, a dangerous order to do them anyway, in my opinion. Someone in the chat said, think of the farts on the dance floor. That's a good point. I mean, if it does work that quickly for you. Anyway, I was the vice-captain of the Sunday League team, having been an established player for a few years. And this evening, I fancied a pasanda, or a korma, for those of you who don't know, our American brethren, who maybe don't eat curry as much as we do here. That's a very mild, if anything, sweet curry. By the way, can I just say, there's very few things better than a Peshwari naan. I just bloody love a Peshwari naan. It's so good. It's like a pudding. Great. It's like cake. Anyway, knowing... Go on.
No. Go on. Okay. I was going to say, just that sometimes you can get these sort of cheesy cheese flatbreads in some curry houses. It's great with a curry.
Great with a curry? Cheese with a curry?
Yeah, it's like a cheese paneer.
Okay, paneer's great, yeah.
Or chapati. Cheese chapatis. Anyway,
sorry. Knowing plenty of beer was to follow and not being the biggest fan of really spicy food. However, as the orders were flying in, the captain of our team ordered a vindaloo. It was a massive fuck-off power move. So being the vice-captain with ambitions of taking the armband someday, I decided to match his massive bollock manliness and also go with the vindaloo. An hour later, after some serious sweats and panicking, I had the shits. An hour? That's mad, isn't it? I was on the toilet at home by 9 o'clock, missing the piss up, and being called, and so just to remember this guy's called Luke Bromwich. He's now called Pook on Sunday mornings. Still to this day, nightmare. Let's know your curry panic.
People are saying in the comments, cheese with a curry. Look, I didn't do it. The Indian people in the shop who obviously know much more about curry than me did it. I just ate it.
Yeah.
Shout out One Spice and Devices.
Sandwich chat. Here we go. CM Stewie. Lots to talk about here. And it veers off as well. Probably a very unpopular opinion, but for me, the crust of a sandwich is on, and this is good. Sandwich chat, I sort of wondered, is this worth it? But what it does do is it weeds out the weirdos. So probably a very unpopular opinion, but for me, this crust of a sandwich is on par, if not superior, to the middle.
That's bold.
Ultimate.
Bold, isn't it?
Really bold. You know, I was saying earlier in the week, you say little things sometimes and it make me laugh. If you listen to the pod, that's one of them. Ultimately, having a bite with both crust and middle is what I'm after. But now and again, I treat myself by leaving the crust last and squashing them together. The guy who saves the crust and eats them at a different time is a step too far, though. 1 week ban. 2 week ban. Fuck it. Get away from this podcast. Right.
Did you see the fest hole I sent to you? It says, I cut my sandwiches on a 60-40 bias and eat the small half first. Instead of being disappointed, I'm halfway through. I'm excited. There's more to come.
I retweeted that tweet. It's absolute genius. That for me.
It really is. There's a book. I know the guy, Rob Manuel, who runs that festival, came up with it. He's a lovely guy. I bought his book. His book's out now to support him.
Okay. That is absolute genius. I don't know if... hang on. Festhol's not this person, is it? Because someone did say a similar thing. Where is it? It's gone. It might turn up later. Anyway, yeah, that is absolute genius. And I think the way forward for me from now on. So many people tag me in it. So yeah, 6:40. I love that. Halfway through, and I'm excited. There's more to come. That is so smart. I can't believe I haven't thought about that.
It is smart. Do you think you'd be a bit nervous when you're then approached by the big bit? You're like, oh, this feels like a lot.
My main concern is the adrenaline whilst going through that first quarter. Because I'm just so excited for the end bit, for the next bit, and that juicy middle that is to be. Tyler Norton says, turns out Flav randomly saying sandwich that one time was actually a premonition. Flavstradamus. Well done, Tyler.
I think I've got Tourette's. I know talked about this before, but I think I have.
Do you?
Yeah, I think that sandwich was a little Tourette's tick at the moment.
That's interesting.
I've definitely got physical ticks.
I mean, worth looking into. I'm not sure. Probably isn't, really, is it?
No, it's not. What difference does it make?
Yeah, exactly. LM, Flav talking about overthinking while eating is definitely something I'm guilty of. When eating chili con carne or a curry, I can't help but constantly think about the ratio of rice to chili curry on each fork. Now, I would think about that for the whole plate, but not each fork. A thing is, I always end up with a decent amount of rice left over, despite the stress I put myself under. So it's undeniably pointless exercise, but I can't stop doing it.
I know what he means. Like when we make a curry, I use the corn pieces, which obviously absorb the flavour of the curry, and it's really good, right? And I do sometimes think I can't have two on. So I'll have my fork, corn pieces on there with a curry. I'll eat that. The next fork can't have any corn pieces on it because I'll be left with none too soon. Yeah. So you've got to ration out the pieces. Like, let's ration out the bits of chicken.
Don't you wish you could record your inner monologue? Because I would be similar. I'd be like, whoa, slow it down, Jim. Slow it down. We've got to go easy now. Maybe a bit heavy with the rice on this one. Okay, now we're going to... And I would be like, okay, so where... I'm looking at the plate. I'm thinking, where are we going to go? I could go... Oh, no. We'll save you to this. Put you to the side. I'm going to save you for later. Let's get some rice and sauce now.
Well, I was on the breakfast buffet, weren't I, on the weekend? And I was... all I think is, what would Jim do?
Yeah,
WWJD.
Good.
What would Jim do?
Do you know what's sad? Is that now with the old, bit of weight loss, trying to get in good nick, dabbling with the idea of attempting to get a six-pack now, Flav. We're at that stage. You've got to be careful. I have to be and I can't. When I was in Glasgow the other week, I couldn't attack the breakfast buffet the way I really wanted to, which is just honestly, it's heartbreaking. I had two sausages and I walked away and I was nearly crying. What a waste. Yeah. In my heart, I wanted 6. Ubermelon, this is from last week. Go on.
You know these things called intrusive thoughts? They're like mental things that come into your mind that you would never imagine doing, but everybody has them.
Yeah.
Like, I saw a kid in an Arsenal strip the other day, and in my head I thought, I could boot that kid.
I always think kick. I always think kick as well.
I could kick that kid really hard. Maybe kick him in a road or something.
Is that? Well, actually, this is good to talk about. Is that a normal thing, guys? Is it? Because I thought kick. I always think kick. You don't want to punch him. You just want to kick him.
No, I'd boot that kid. And I'd never ever would boot a child.
Of course.
But in my mind says,
I
would kick the fuck out of that kid.
Yeah.
I wonder how far I could volley that kid.
Yeah, and yeah, just to reiterate, never do that.
11 feet, I reckon I could kick that kid.
Do you know what, though? You want to kick them like in a cartoon, don't you? When it's like, boing, and they go off and they stand and they're fine. There's no, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, you just want to like a side volley, just like really engineer. Use your body weight, twist into the kick, and boot the kid as hard as you can.
Yeah, like the cover of FIFA.
But a lot of people
like the cover of
yeah, a bit like no. I'll tell you where it is.
Just to be clear, because I've got some big things that might be happening soon. We don't mean this. These are as he said from the start. Intrusive thoughts. He wouldn't do this. I wouldn't do this. We wouldn't do this.
No, of course. We're just talking about a natural condition where you want to. Sometimes you don't want to do it, but your brain goes, "You could kick that kid."
Sure.
You know the yeah. Okay. You know, just quickly. You know the picture, the one where you're in your sort of suit, or you're like in your jacket, and you're kicking it. Sort of, it was your header on YouTube or Twitter or something.
Yeah,
you know
still be there.
Yeah, that technique.
Okay, that's not there anymore. I've got a beautiful one made. Okay, so last week you had bread close to hand when we were talking about how you cut things. Uber Melon says Flav. Fuck's sake. You know when I get an audio message, when I get a message from you, I've got my AirPods in, it'll go Flav. And then it'll say the message. Flav has been waiting years to use his pod bread. Every weekly shop he buys an extra loaf of bread on the off chance he could use it in the next pod. Tinface says Flav having bread to hand might be the most organised thing he's ever done on this podcast. Okay, this is weird. Joseph, sandwich chat. I was at my friend's house the other day and he made a plate of sandwiches for everyone. A nice gesture, but the options were either ham or Nutella. Which is already dodgy.
Why has he arrived at that? How can it be that?
Which is already... Yeah, something now. Stay savoury. What are we doing here? Which was already dodgy. Without knowing what was in it, our other friend grabbed a sandwich and bit into it. He looked immediately puzzled and asked, "What's in this one?" To which my friend replied, "Oh yeah, those ones are just butter."
It's weird making sandwiches for all your mates, I think, as well.
Yeah. That is weird. That's probably the weirdest thing of all of it. It's a bit more... Yeah,
some sandwiches, lads. We're going to make some sandwiches. Make 8 sandwiches. Ham, Nutella, and just butter.
I bet he brought them on a tray, didn't he, as well, which is also weird. Yeah, you're right, because actually the ham, the Nutella, the butter, that's just a bit laddie. But the fact that you're willing to make them sandwiches is odd. When questioned, he said that he'd run out of ham, and so he decided to continue making sandwiches, but filling them with just butter. The rest of the night was like a sandwich minefield, as we carefully checked each one to see if there was anything actually in it. Very good.
That's amazing.
Okay. Hang on. This was good. I can't remember. This was weird as well. Right, Dan Rees. I have a little sandwich chat myself. Back when I was 16, our football club organised a tour of Netherlands and Belgium, playing a different team each day over the course of a week. Everyone turns up the morning of departure, pillow, suitcase, and packed lunch in hand. Do you ever go on school trip?
Yeah.
Okay.
Not abroad, but just like to Swanage.
So we went there. Very exciting stuff. After an initial raucous couple of hours, the coach settled into a state of slumber. It was an early start, and I was growing weary myself, so decided to get some shut-eye. The hum of the engine and light banter in the distance set me off without a hitch. I'm not sure how long had passed, but I slowly began to stir after becoming aware of a rustling noise. Now concentrate, Flav, because I'm still a bit confused by this. Our left back, sat next to me, must have become peckish and was tucking into his packed lunch. I remained in my incredibly awkward sleeping position, peeling my teary eyes open, only to witness him compressing 2 sandwich halves into a sphere.
So you made it into a ball?
2 hands...
You smashed it up and made it into a ball?
I think so. 2 hands slowly working his way around it until there was no longer any give. To my horror, he then proceeded to place the entire thing in his mouth.
He made a sandwich ball. I think
so.
That's crazy.
I must have let out a small gasp because he quickly realised I was conscious, turning to me, eyes locked, mouth full. He held our gaze for a couple of seconds before I shut my eyes, no longer able to recognise the man before me. I awoke an hour or so later. We sat in silence for some time before he offered me the latest Loaded magazine. A Loaded magazine was like a sort of halfway house between a sort of porn and a GQ, I guess.
Yeah.
We held our gaze for a couple of seconds before I shut my eyes. I've done it. He gave me a Loaded magazine. I presume as a peace offering because we never spoke of the incident again. So a sort of sandwich ball.
A sandwich that's just been crushed into a ball.
Is that a thing?
I'm not sure about this one, Jim.
You calling it?
Might be. I might. I think you might have made it. I think it might not be true.
Oh no, I'm okay with it.
What do you think? What do you let us know in the comments below? Is that real? Is that true or not? Let us know.
I didn't think of that. That's interesting. Right, let's finish off with quick Samazon, then this Dutch music thing, which I don't know what the fuck's going on. So Samazon, Daniel Johnson, great Samazon from The Office. One of the grads confidently said, he has been put on a pedal stool. A moment of sharp silence fell as we said, thanks for this wonderful opportunity. At the risk of jumping the gun and ruining this glorious opportunity, we asked the poor grad to repeat his sentence, confirming that he did in fact believe the saying was put on a pedal stool instead of pedestal. Photos of pedal stool were popping around the office for days, and I still chuckle when I remember it to this day. Good. What I continue to be so upset with is Micah Richards using vocal point. He did it again, and I can't handle it. If someone can get a message to Micah Richards to stop calling it a vocal point, it's a focal point. I like you, I like the energy you bring, but it's not a focal point. Okay, mate?
Yeah.
Right. Dutch music chat. Guys, if you're still watching right now, please do hit the like button for me and subscribe if you're new. And follow us on Spotify as well. Bart013. Hi, James and Flav. I don't know to which section this story belongs, but you might like it. I am Dutch, and last week I went on a school trip to Bosnia and Herzegovina. In the evenings, we were forced to be in our hotel room at 10 p.m. So my mates and I would spend the nights playing Football Manager whilst listening to some random Dutch songs. This is when we discovered a song called, and I'm obviously going to butcher this, Als gij vinger in min kont stiekt, which means when you put your finger in my bum. You calling it, or you going to let me finish?
No, go on. Believe him.
Okay.
I believe him.
It's about a relationship, and you wonder why Dutch music isn't mainstream. It's about a relationship only held together by a girlfriend bumming him. We quickly became massive fans of this song.
What? I got to Google this. Go on.
I tell you what,
my bum.
Yeah, okay.
Wow.
We discovered that the song was written by a Dutch actor called Tom van Kalmhout. It's Calm spelt with a K, Houdt. His artist name is Ron van Zalmsaus. On our last day in Bosnia, we went to a city called Mostar. We were casually walking down the streets when we saw Tom van Kalmhout, the writer of When You Put Your Finger in My Bum. We could not believe that he, of all people, was in Mostar as well. We took a picture with him. If you would like to hear the song, it's called Als Jij Javinga in Miln Konstigt by whatever his name is. I could translate the best bits for you if you would like that. I don't know how to send you a picture, but if you would like to see the picture with us and Ron, I could send it to you. Unfortunately, I didn't bring a spoon with me.
Good.
Yeah. So was this a successful song?
I don't know. I mean, I doubt it. It's just niche, isn't it? It's like,
yeah.
Can you Google it, or are you worried about copyright strike?
No, I'm not worried about copyright strike.
Well, then
I can't copy and paste it. I could search the guys now. I can't be asked, Flav. I'll be honest.
I'm not sure this bit's going to take off. Dutch music.
No. Right, guys. Thank you for listening to the podcast. If you are new, get involved in the comments down below. I haven't answered questions. Apologies for that. I tell you what, super quick fire. Could probably do it. Thoughts on crisp sandwich? I'm not a fan. Flav?
I definitely have crisps with a sandwich, just not inside.
Agreed.
A few Arsenal fans coming in for some reason out now and just having a right go.
Fair enough.
So deal with it. What you could do is actually go back and actually watch the video, not just click on the link and go, "How are there Arsenal cracks?" Watch the video, and you'll hear me say all of the things that Arsenal are not doing, and not all the things that are not an issue for Arsenal.
Although that is exactly why we made the title. So thank you so much. Is cake a sandwich? Is a cake a sandwich? No, it's not. It's a cake. Frankie Danky, has he been sick again? Flav?
Well, yeah, several times.
Okay. God, there's so many. Are we at Fleet Services right now? No, we're not. Are Leicester City back? No.
I was at Fleet Services on Saturday.
Were you? How was it?
I think not a single nosh. Didn't get one nosh while I was there.
It's gone down.
Couldn't find anyone. I think a lot of people. A lot of people say a lot of brave stuff, but don't actually follow through. There was no one behind the bins. I had a little look through the wooded area of Fleet Services. No one skulking around. I was really disappointed. I just had to put the kids back in the car and and drive to Fort Park.
What a shame. Right, guys, enjoy your weekend. Thanks for watching. Join us on Patreon if you'd like to, and just continue enjoying yourselves. All right.
Take care, everyone. Have a great week, and don't let the football get you down.
Exactly. And come on, Queen's Park Rangers.
Yeah, when are they playing next, Jim? Quickly.
Allcott's on his way up to Brum in about an hour and a half.
That's right.
Luke, who got a bit of heat last week at the start of the podcast, it was all just a bit of fun, and we're looking forward to seeing him and smashing up his beloved Blues.
It wasn't fun from my part. I meant every word.
Yeah.